epicure. Life is a full spectrum of possibilities to be experienced freely and with sustained concentration.
Or the world limits people, frustrates them, and causes pain that can be avoided.
As an adaptive strategy, I learned to protect myself from limitations and pain by engaging in pleasurable activities and by imagining many fascinating possibilities for the future. I became a glutton for interesting ideas and experiences.
That its bouquet might the better be savored by the true epicures of what was really exquisite in life. Oscar Wilde.
I sing my song. It penetrates all thickets. And not only that, I will mate with my own. I am a fine thing. I display myself. My life is devoted to dancing. I am Coyote. Murray Mednick, The Coyote Cycle.
My old daddy used to say, it's some comfort to a man if he must be an ass anyhow, to be his own kind of ass. Walt Whitman.
Talking about sex. Thousands of impaled bats frantically flapping in the bedroom terrify my dreaming wife. Although diminutive, even winsome, furry like fresh almonds, still on the tree in their fruit disguise. My disguised spouse is not really sleeping. She is in flames or sequencing. She is in a guise not in service to the ego or the superego or the sequence on the street. She is in a negligee, sewn by bold spiders, spun by bees, from threads of rainwater, which evaporate with sighs.
7 human needs, according to Kim Stanley. To celebrate, to charm, to plead, to accuse, to seduce, to destroy, to entice.
All the Doomed Blondes, Part 7. Kim Stanley was a 16-year-old high school student in San Antonio, Texas, when Katharine Hepburn came to town in a touring production of The Philadelphia Story, recreating her role in the movie that made her a genuine, honest-to-goodness movie star. The young girl was overwhelmed by the performance, moved to the point of tears. She didn't want it to end, and she desperately wanted to do what she had seen Hepburn do. In 1947, with $21 in her pocket, she went to Manhattan to join the Actors Studio and study with Elia Kazan and Lee Strasberg. The method had taken American acting by storm. Brando, Dean, Clift, Paul Newman, Lee J. Cobb, Anne Bancroft, Eva Marie Saint, and Marilyn Monroe. Kim Stanley appeared in a play by Gertrude Stein called Yes is for a Very Young Man and was singled out by Times critic Brooke Atkinson. In 1952, at the age of 27, she played the pre-pubescent Millie Owens in Picnic by William Inge. Paul Newman made his Broadway debut in the same production in a supporting role, eventually taking over the lead. The playwright was so impressed with Kim's dedication and skill that he contrived a vehicle especially for her, the starry-eyed chanteuse Cherie in Bus Stop, which opened in 1954 and promptly made Kim Stanley a Broadway star. When it came time to make the film, however, the role went to Marilyn Monroe, who had optioned the play and yearned to be taken seriously as an actress, especially after having worked with Strasberg, who became my mentor. She had many coaches through the years, but Strasberg and his wife, Paula, became her constant companions, especially on set, and it paid off. Marilyn's performance in the film is her apotheosis, just as indeed Kim Stanley's performance in the film in Goddess, a thinly veiled cautionary portrait of Marilyn Monroe, released in 1958, further confirmed Kim as the female Brando. As Rita Shaw, she achieved mythic status with a bravura performance directed by John Cromwell, who also directed her in Frances Farmer.
When I asked Meryl Streep to name the performers who impressed and influenced her the most in film history, she cited Kim Stanley in Goddess and Greta Garbo in Camille.
Stanley's next great performance wasn't until 1964 as an unhinged medium who has kidnapped a child in Seance on a Wet Afternoon, for which she was nominated for an Oscar. Powered by Kim Stanley's electrifying performance, the film was a major art house hit. Although the performance was widely acclaimed and richly rewarded with multiple nominations by various critics' associations in America and Europe, she went into a tailspin, leading to a total nervous breakdown. She was in and out of institutions and didn't work again for many years. But she was nominated for an Oscar a second time in 1982, in her return to the screen for her terrifying performance as Frances Farmer's devouring mother in Frances. In the intervening years, Stanley had become a revered teacher, and Jessica Lange had been one of her star pupils. She personally requested that Kim take on the harrowing role of the monster mother. Together they created perhaps the most indelible depiction of mother-daughter dysfunction ever committed to celluloid. The only comparable combination is in Goddess, in which Rita's endlessly disapproving, despicably pious mother is a major element in the star's ultimate downfall, just as with Frances Farmer. It does seem a bit incomprehensible that this toweringly talented artist, the female Brando, appeared in only 5 films. Even so, she garnered 2 Oscar nominations, a Golden Globe and a BAFTA nomination, and Best Actress from the National Board of Review and the New York Film Critics. Not to mention 2 Emmys, one for Big Mama in a television version of Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and another for a guest shot on the series Ben Casey. From 1949 to 1964, she was in only 12 major productions on Broadway. Still, she was awarded 2 Tonys. Although she loved acting on stage, she is quoted as saying, "I was happy on stage. It was my home, really." But after the harsh reception of the Actors Studio production of The Three Sisters in London, in which she played the morose Masha, she vowed to never act on stage again, and she never did.
On the road across America with the Provisional, we had a gig at the University of New Mexico, Santa Fe. The day after our show, a largely abstract endeavor called the America piece, solemnly, comprised entirely of sound and movement, no words. We gave a workshop to the students in the theater department. As we cavorted around doing theater exercises with the students, it was hard to miss a woman spread out in the corner as if enthroned, the light from the large window giving her backlight, dressed all in black, her blonde hair gone white. When I realized who she was, I bolted from the group scrum, dashed across the room, and went down on my knees to her. "Yes," she said, seeming to confirm her identity, and lowering her glasses to look me in the eye. "Miss Stanley, we're so honored to have you here. Now, sweetie. Did you see our show?" With a slight smile, she gazed even more directly at me, as if to say, "I wouldn't be sitting here if I found it intolerable." And then she spoke, husky, slightly southern. "Oh, yes, I enjoyed it a lot. I had no idea at all what happened, if you know what I mean. Totally. But it's an interesting way of working. Very now, huh? Very of the moment. In a way that the studio could only have happened when it did. The way you strip the expression of the need down to the absolute essentials, underneath the words. I love that. I used to do something like that in my classes. I'd make them improvise the scene entirely without using any of the lines. Very informative, especially with Chekhov. But you all take it further. Just the basic sounds, the barest gesture, without subtracting everything that we really need to know, the nuance, the rubbing her fingers and thumb together, particularities, eyebrow raise, smile, sigh. My, listen to me. How I do go on. But I must say, the characters aren't really, they aren't what I would have thought to have been really actable. I mean, in the traditional sense. But they moved me. I felt I knew them. So interesting. And she did that glasses trick again. Do you understand, darling? Well, of course you do. You're doing it. I glanced back at the ongoing exercise, the earnest frolic. You want to join in? And she gave a slightly scandalized bark. For goodness sake, no. You don't want to see me rolling around out there. At this point, it's just fun to be able to be here and watch and take it all in. Now, you should go back. You've been a perfect gentleman. Good luck with your endeavors. And tell your colleagues I admire them all. I repressed an impulse to kiss her hand. Now I wish I hadn't held back.